Okay, I need a quiet, please. Phones face down on the table and eyes up on the screen. All right, so this is our third artist that doesn't quite fit in nicely with the term of Rococo. He is categorized as a Rococo artist, but doesn't quite fit in. Um, all right, so let's take a look at this series of artworks. It's called Marriage a la Mode by William Hogarth. He's English, by the way. So we've been looking at French artists this whole time. Now we're going to look at an English dude. These six artworks tell a story. Are we done with the slide? Anybody need more time? 1745. Alrighty then. So, like I said, this tells a story of a modern marriage, and that's what marriage a la mode means. It means that it is marriage or the marriage of the day. And instead of the Rococo artists that celebrated the aristocratic culture and the stories of love and people pretending to be poor and in those beautiful like settings and scenes of people sneaking away with each other or these private little rendezvous and people cheating on each other. Instead of celebrating that, Hogarth instead criticizes it and he is making fun of it in these pictures. So it is a satire instead of a celebration of this aristocratic culture. All right, so there's a couple characters in this that I want you to know, or to explain this story. There is a lord. He is born into aristocracy, but he has squandered all of his money. He does not manage money well, so he has the title of being an aristocrat, but he has no money. All right, and so his name in this story is Lord Squanderfield. Then he has a son. Now there's a wealthy merchant, and this wealthy merchant has the money but does not have a title. He's born into middle class, he's made a lot of money, but he doesn't have the title, and he has a daughter. So the father of the son and the father of the daughter have arranged for their children to be married. Marrying into money will solve the Lord's problems of not having money, and marrying into aristocracy will solve a lot of the wealthy merchants' problems. So it's more of a marriage that will benefit the two fathers than anything else. So this is our first painting, and it's called The Marriage Settlement. And there's some things that I want to point out. So over here is the son, and he is looking into a mirror. All right, so he's admiring himself in the mirror. And then here is the merchant's daughter. And notice that the son and the daughter that are about to get married have their backs to each other. They're not really engaging with each other. The guy that's talking to the daughter is a family lawyer, right? So he's whispering things into her ear and she's listening. Then over here, this guy right here in the red, this is the wealthy merchant. And he has papers showing his wealth. And over here, sitting on the far right, is the Lord, and he is pointing to this family tree, and we'll see a close up of the family tree. In fact, let's take a closer look here. He is pointing to the family tree, and that family tree, like his lineage, comes from a knight that has been a family member that has been knighted. So Sir Lord and so had family, and then he's descended from that. Also, look at his foot up on the little step stool, and it's all bandaged up. He has gout, so he's in ill health. All right, there is a an architect, and the architect is looking out the window at the construction. There's the architect, this guy in the black. He is looking out the window at the construction of the new palace that of the Lord that needs money to finish constructing it. And then this guy right here, the usurer, I want you to know that term. Usurer is somebody that lends money and charges interest. So if he lends you $100, you have to pay him back $120, and he's made $20 off of lending you money. At this time, or like especially back in the medieval era, that was seen as a very evil sin, is to lend money for profit. In fact, it's in one of the lower rings of hell on the in Dante's Inferno. But now it's what banks do. That's how. If you want to take out a loan, you have to go to a bank. They're not called usurers anymore. All right. Once again, notice that the the bride and the groom are not facing each other. They're not engaged with each other. And then the two dogs here are chained to each other, and that's a metaphor for the bride and the groom. They are, not literally but figuratively chained to each other. They have no interest in each other. And if we take a close look at them, you can see, what is the man holding? All right. He has a little box, and he's taking a little pinch from that box. All right, that's called a snuff box. And so it's a tobacco that's finely shredded that you snort. All right, and so with if you smoke cigarettes, you get like a very mild high from it. That's why it's part of the addiction of a cigarette. And it's the same thing with this snuff. Is you inhale it and you get like a mild high. I want you to notice his neck. What's wrong with his neck? What do you see on his neck? Yeah, a big black spot, right? That is a sign of syphilis, right? So he has a sexually transmitted disease. Um, all right, so that's what's going on in this. So, and then the lawyer's name, that person that is talking to the daughter, his name is Silvertongue, right? And that's a reference to somebody that is a smooth talker. That like con artists are often like a silver tongue. They can talk to you and con you out of your money. So this lawyer, this con artist, is talking to the daughter. All right, now fast forward. This is the painting that I want you to remember for the test. Tete a tete, which means face to face or head to head. All right, the bride and the groom are now newlyweds. They've been married a short while. In this painting, it is in the morning and they are just waking up. Do they look like they are just waking up? Like, look at how they're dressed. Does that look like people that are just waking up? Right, people that are just waking up are still in their pajamas, right? So they have partied all night long and not gone to bed. So they may have fallen asleep here in the living room. If you look in the background, their servant looks like he is just waking up too. There is a knocked over chair. What have I said about knocked over chairs? Right, sex has happened in this room. All right, and most likely it's her because. So the story goes is that a wild party has happened the night before. You can see there is clutter around on the floor. The chair's been knocked over, and he has gone out and had an affair. If you take a look at the dog, is sniffing at something in his pocket. That's a lace handkerchief from whatever woman he's had an affair with. And then there's a broken sword on the ground. There's been a duel. He's had a duel. He's been out fighting and consorting. And then she has just waken up, and she has a very well, her posture indicates unfaithfulness. All right, and then this character right here is the accountant for the family, and look at the expression on his face. Right? He's rolling his eyes. He's giving up, and in his hand he has all these pieces of paper that say what? A bill. There's a stack of bills, and I don't know that contraption he's holding is like a paperweight with a big stick coming out of it. And when you've paid a bill, you put you put that bill onto that. It's like a skewer. You skewer that bill, and but look at the bills that are unpaid, and then the one bill that has been paid. So he is giving up on them because they are not managing their money well. On the mantelpiece is a ton of like little knickknacks, and there is a sculpture that has a broken nose, and it's possibly that it has broken during a party. All right, and then the painting is a painting of Cupid among the ruins. So even though there was love in the air, like he's in a place that is long since like had any kind of care or attention given to it. Now, in the background, there's these paintings of the saints, but then look at this painting right here. All right, notice that it has a curtain rod and a curtain drawn in front of it. One of the reasons why I showed you those saucy paintings is that to show you, because I was going to be showing you this, that this is one of those paintings. This is one of those naughty paintings. And so men would buy paintings like this and then have a curtain over it while company was over, but then would pull the curtain back when he was showing it off to like his guy friends, and to be like a saucy picture of a woman, right? So uh, this couple right here is part of that aristocracy that and engaging in that debauchery that I've been telling you guys about. All right, now moving on to the next painting, the inspection. So this is our groom right here, and he has syphilis, and this is a doctor that he's been getting medication from to control that syphilis, and he is returning the medication because it is not working. All right, and then the little girl that he is with is a young prostitute, so it's an underage prostitute, and she is applying ointment to her lips, which was a like a medicine for the early stages of syphilis. So either he has given her syphilis, or she's the one that gave him syphilis, or everybody just has syphilis. All right. So and then the woman right here is angry at the guy for trying to return this medicine that. Hello. How you doing? All right. Yeah. You picked a great day to come visit. We're talking about syphilis.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So she is angry at him for returning this medicine. So the doctor and this woman are running a scam on this guy right here. All right. And then on the is this the this is the fourth painting. So here we have the toilet of the new bride, and she has had a baby by this time, but the baby is nowhere to be found in this painting. So she is entertaining people without being a mother. And over on the right side, this is Lord Silvertongue that you saw in that first painting. And he is gesturing to this image over here of a ball. He's going to take her to a ball. And so he is now dating her. All right. So she's having this affair with the lawyer. By the way, I told you guys what a toilet is in Europe. Is that this is the toilet right here. It's the table that has all the perfumes on it, the mirror that she can put on her makeup, and then the toilet is the whole room here. And so she is entertaining lots of guests at here. And then down the painting that's on the wall, this painting over here on the left, is a famous painting, and it is of Zeus having an affair. But remember, I talked to you about how he disguises himself because his wife slash sister always catches him having these affairs. So he has to disguise himself. So last time it was a swan. One time it was a golden shower, maybe like sunlight. This time he's concealed himself as fog and is having his way with this woman right here. So again, this is the type of debauchery that is going on.
Great day.
Oh yes, right. So this is the type of debauchery going on with the aristocracy at the time. And then down below is this child pointing to this this statue right here, and the statue is the god Actaeon, who is a symbol of cuckoldry. All right, now the fifth painting in this series is set in a cheap hotel room, and the husband has barged through the door and caught his wife in the middle of the affair, and her lover is sneaking out the window, but not before they had a sword fight. So you can see he has blood in his shirt, and there's a bloody sword here on the ground, and there's been a sword fight. So the husband came in and caught his wife, and they had a sword fight, and then the received a fatal wound, and now the lover is sneaking out the window. And then in the final painting of this series, the wife is now dying of syphilis. She's in her final moments. A nurse has brought her child to say goodbye and to her, while her father, who is only concerned with money, takes the ring off of her finger in order to sell it later. On the floor by her feet is a newspaper, and the story on the front page of the newspaper is the story of her lover who was executed by hanging for killing her husband. And then right next to that is a poison bottle. So she has poisoned herself. Whereas earlier I said that she was dying of syphilis, but she had poisoned herself. So her lover was killed, her husband is killed, and now she has no reason to live. So she takes her own life. And then over here on the table, this dog that has not been fed is now picking at the scraps that are on the table. And then we can see in the child right there, do you see the mark on the child's face? All right, so that is a sign that this child was born with syphilis. All right, so all of this is a negative view of the aristocracy at that time. He's holding up a mirror to the aristocracy and their debaucherous behavior to show the world that this is not good. And this is what kind of this attitude by the aristocracy, if they can do whatever they want and not have any consequences, leads to the French Revolution. By the way, and then outside the window is the old places where she used to live. And then I have something to read for you real quick. It was written at the same time that this painting was made. It says, "Don't listen to the evil, silver-tongued counselors. Don't marry a man for his rank or a woman for her money. Don't frequent foolish auctions and masquerade balls unknown to your husband. Don't have wicked companions abroad and neglect your wife. Otherwise, you will be run through the body, and ruin will ensue, and disgrace and Tibur. So basically, it's the consequences of this hedonistic lifestyle. And when we look at Rococo art, if we look at the fun, frivolous paintings of the Rococo, we have these romantic encounters and these secret escapades and these sneaking behind each other's backs and cheating on each other. Well, in the Hogarth paintings, this is the true life consequence of that hedonistic and debaucherous lifestyle of the aristocracy. Four. All right. So, are there any questions about anything we've discussed so far today? All right. So that's going to finish us for part 2, and then we'll get into. Good. All right, we've got so much art history and never enough time to get through it all. So let's go run through the art museum. So, right alongside Rococo was another emerging development. So, I've talked to you about this is one of my all-time favorite parts of art history, where we had this very serious Baroque era, and then we have this little hiccup of Rococo that's very light. It's very lots of scenes of romantic love, and then but also sexuality, and then people get tired of this, and so we have this return to very serious and dramatic artwork that has important themes. So one of the things that ushers in this new movement is the rediscovery of Pompeii and the Herculaneum. So there's only been small discoveries so far, and in the 18th century, the area that we're looking at, it is where we have first begin to have large scale excavations. And I want to introduce you to this guy right here. His name is Winckelmann. Do you need more time with this slide? Are we good to go? All right. All right. So this guy right here, his name is Winckelmann, and he is an art critic. And his big important thing for us to know in art history is that all the art of the Rococo that I've just been showing you, the art of the aristocracy, he's saying that that's absolute garbage art. He's saying that that's bad stuff, and that we should look more towards the art of ancient Greece and Rome. That this art has more important themes that we should be looking at instead of these light themes of love and sexuality that the Rococo has been showing us. So he gives a big thumbs up to ancient Greece and Rome and a big thumbs down to Rococo. And this new interest in Greek and Roman art shows itself in portraiture. So this, and we see like in portraiture we have images where the people will not mock but emulate famous artworks or the poses of the famous artworks of yesteryear of the Greek and Roman. So look at this portrait of Commodore Keppel, and he has kind of the same pose. You can see the contrapposto in him, but it's this heroic pose that he has. And this starts a large movement of portraiture called the Grand Manner Portrait. And in these portraits, there's several characteristics of a grand manner portrait. One is they are dressed up in their best clothes. They're in a beautiful location. That's number two. Number three, they have some that their pose is reminiscent of the Greek and Roman poses. And then to make them look even grander, the horizon line as lowered down to low on the in the picture plane. If you look at the horizon line right here, let's do right here and right here and right here. The horizon line is down by their thigh or their knees, and that makes them look heroic. If you were really standing in front of this person, the horizon line would be up like near their shoulder, and that would be more realistic. But to make these people look grander than they really are, then the horizon line is done really low. In the past, these type of portraiture was only reserved for the royalty and for kings and queens and emperors. But now more and more people are having these types of portraits made. All right, and then this renewed interest in all things that are classic, it sparks this thing called the Grand Tour. And in this tour, people from all over Europe will travel to Greece and Italy and to go see ancient Greek and Roman art and Greek and Roman architecture. So it becomes a thing now to travel to Italy and Greece to see all this stuff. And then while you're there, you can get your portrait made with famous Greek and Roman artworks behind you. So all this leads us into neoclassical art. Say that again? Yes. We're at the very end of chapter 26. And it kind of bothers me that this book has neoclassicism both in chapter 26 and in chapter 27. Like we're going to start chapter 27 with neoclassical art, but whatever, that's just how it is. All right, and then the main artist that I want you guys to know from neoclassical painting, especially in this early stages of neoclassical painting, is Jacques-Louis David. All right, now this guy is very anti Rococo. In fact, he is a revolutionary, and he is one of the leaders in the revolution of France. And he was part of the group that voted to behead the king. And his signature is on documents for the arrest and decapitation of many of the aristocracy. So all the people that were buying those debaucherous paintings of the Rococo, he is having them executed. And also, he served in the revolutionary government. And one of his jobs, or one of the things that he did, is he dissolved the Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture. So that Raps that I told you about, that was so instrumental in getting France on the map of having these great artists, he dissolved that school because that was a very elitist school. And these revolutionaries are very interested in making things look more, or making things more about having more freedom for the people. During this time, so this is like the late 1700s and very early 1800s, like 180 whatever. This is about the same time that America had its revolution, and where they made the document that everybody is created equal. And so France is saying, hey, if America can do it, then we can do it. So they're recreating the government. They're getting rid of kings and the aristocracy so they can have a government that is for the people. So that brings me to a story time for you guys. So we're going to Rome, and Romulus was the twin brother that founded Rome, and the emperor after Romulus was Numa Pompilius, and he thought, we should all just live in peace. Let's not have any wars. Let's not go fight them. Let's not go fight those people. Let's just take care of ourselves, and we won't. We don't need to get into all these battles. And then the emperor that took his place after that was the complete opposite. Hostilius was a warmonger, and he started going to war around with all of his neighbors simply because he thought the Romans had been too weak from having a pacifist emperor. That's the only reason he went to war, is to make Romans tougher. All right, so he sent his troops to make war on Alba Longa, which is a nearby area of Rome, and it was a nearby city. Both the leaders had equal armies. Both of the armies were totally badass, and both the leaders realized that if their two armies went to war, there'd be a lot of death on both sides, and that would lead both of them open for an invasion from the Etruscans, and they didn't want that. So they decided that instead of these two armies to fight and lots of death, they would choose three champions from one side and they would fight three champions from the other side. And so the three champions for the Romans were these three brothers named the Horatii. And then the three champions from the Alba Longa side were three brothers called the Caratii. Now, the problem is that because these towns are so close, there's a lot of intermingling in the towns. You grow crops in one town and then you sell it in the next town, and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of traveling going on between the cities, and sometimes people marry somebody from the nearby town. So that's what's happened in these two families. So the wives and sisters of the Horatii are also the wives and sisters of the Caratii. For example, let's see, I think one of the Horatii brothers is married to a sister from the Caratii. One of the Horatii daughters is engaged to a Caratii brother. So no matter who wins, the women are going to lose. If the Romans win, the women will lose brothers and fiancé. If the Alba Longians win, then the women will lose brothers. So no matter who wins, the women are going to suffer. Anyways, so the fight happens. It's 3 against 3, and immediately 2 of the Romans are killed. So now it's 1 versus 3. But this one is a total badass, and he's able to kill all 3 of them because he fights them one at a time. He's able to kill them one at a time. So he dons. Notice that cheetah skin that the Caratii is wearing. He wears that on the way home, and his sister goes into a fit when she sees that. She knows that her fiance has just been killed, and so she's crying over her fiance, and that is when her brother kills her, because she is not crying for a Roman, she's crying for the enemy. She is giving comfort to the enemy instead of for the Romans. Her 2 brothers have died, but she's crying for her fiance. All right, so that is the story of the Horatii. Now, Jacques Louis David makes this painting called The Oath of the Horatii. So here's our painting. Now, This is a very neoclassical painting. It's one of the best examples of neoclassicism. What makes this a neoclassical painting, or because I haven't gone too much into neoclassicism, but you should know about Rococo. What makes this not a Rococo painting? What about this painting is not Rococo? It doesn't have debauchery. All right. What else? Say that again. Yes, right. The colors. All right. The colors of the Rococo were these pastels, the light pinks, and then the beautiful blue greens. All right. It's not a story of like romantic love. There's not people cheating on each other. All right. Going behind each other's backs and meeting up. All right. This is a story of heroism. We have the three brothers are promising to defend Rome. So the father is holding up the three swords and they're taking an oath to honor Rome. Isn't that a much more important ideal than sneaking around and having these little love affairs? Right. So that is neoclassicism. And this is what the revolutionaries of France are attracted to. And this is what they aspire to, that there are more important things than your own petty little lives. All right, Rome being one of them. And for the revolutionaries, it would be the revolution is more important than your own petty little lives. All right, so I want a couple things I want to point out. The men are very rigid, so they have these straight lines. We have these straight arms, we have these straight legs, we have this spear right here, we have the swords, straight legs here, straight arms here. All right, everything is very straight and rigid with the men, but the women have all these soft curves. So the men have this like it's they are about the ideal uh, uh, of the revolution, and they are committed to a cause. Where the women are kind of filled with emotion, and so we have this very stark difference between the men and the women. And then also we can see that David is looking back to ancient Greek and Rome, and he is using that as inspiration. You can see it in the fabrics, and then we can even see the inspiration from Greek vases. And then if we follow the orthogonals, they all guide us to the hands in the middle. All right, so this will finish us for today. Um, we will be finishing this tomorrow. And I know that tomorrow is a working Wednesday. It'll take us maybe 5 to 10 minutes to finish this chapter. All right.